What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. There was some news today that went live as soon as the treasure map went live regarding a brand new update to the game. So we're getting version 9.5. At this current point in time, it doesn't really give us many details as to what this update is going to entail. It mentioned something about new functions for new characters. It mentioned some brief UI changes, but we don't really know exactly what they're doing. And we will find out on the 19th of April, which is actually when the treasure map ends. So we don't really know what to expect moving forward here. However, they did also give us a little bit of other information regarding support abilities. There's going to be a brand new batch of support characters coming to One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. In this video today, I want to point out the more important ones that we'll just briefly discuss over today. Basically, if I don't talk about a certain character, it means that, in my opinion, I don't think they're that noteworthy or they're that worth to worry about their support ability. And again, it does completely depend on the player. Definitely check out the list in-game. It mentions a bunch of different characters. There's a lot of rare recruits getting them. All of the older treasure map characters are going to be receiving support abilities as well. Mind you that they are going to be receiving statistical increased support abilities. So like ones that just increase stats of certain characters. So those type of abilities I'm not really going to be touching on, but every single legend that gets a support ability, I will be talking about them, because typically the legend ones are the ones that you should be looking out for. However, some of them are better than others, that is for sure. Let's start things off. We're going to go from the lowest ID to the most current ID. So there's going to be some legends sprinkled across this video here. So let's start off at ID number 75. Literally like old school 75, this ace. Now mind you, I actually will be uploading another video regarding support abilities within the coming days. Interestingly enough though, is that specific video I did mention that there are support abilities that were in that video that I talked about that are not out in the game yet, and we did get some information already that, you know, these characters are going to be coming. So this is one of the ones I talked about in that video. This ace is really good. I've already saved up 5 copies from just pulling just in the past, and this guy's really good with his support effect. So he attaches to any quick unit, and then once per adventure, when you reach the final boss stage, he gives you a quick character's 1.3 times color affinity. Very similar to the old school, the Happiness Punch Nami from the last batch of support units, just getting free color affinity. Same as Raid Zoro, but he's for slasher units. This guy is just the same thing, but for quick units. So definitely worth going ahead and maxing his ability out. Free color affinity is always nice to have, especially in, you know, content where you're restricted on the amount of specials that you can use, or if the enemy reacts to a color affinity boost. Having an effect like that is really good, right? The next character is ID 359, which is going to be Dex Apu. This guy, again, another really old school character. He's also very interesting. He attaches to any Dex unit, and he says that once per adventure, when you reach the final stage, you get a guaranteed Dex orb on that character. So again, it's very similar to like the Kizuna Margaret or like the Vivi that can attach to any character. This is the same sort of thing, but for any Dex character. You basically just get a guaranteed matching orb, which depending on what team you're running, that's going to be useful to have for sure. The next one is ID 363, which is going to be Jewelry Bonney. Again, another orb manipulating support ability. She attaches to any Psy character, and when you reach the final stage, you get a recovery orb on that character. Now, this is not really going to be a matching orb, but depending on what type of team you're running, you can treat a recovery orb as beneficial. So even though it's not really the same as like the Apu, the Margaret, or the Vivi, depending on the team you're running, you could treat that as beneficial, right? Like hypothetically, on a Psy character, like you could put this on V2 Katakuri. As a captain, he treats recovery as beneficial, right? So that's one way you could use it. But this is going to be a useful type of effect to have on many different characters, so you could actually run multiple of these units as supports on your team. So when you reach the final boss stage, you just get a bunch of matching orbs straight away. It's pretty useful to have. The next one is going to be moving a little further along, ID 1121. If I could actually do this, 1121. Log Luffy is getting his support ability. Now, this will include the newer version of Log Luffy and the older version of Log Luffy. You know, both artworks, they get the same effects. His support ability is interesting. He will attach to basically any Straw Hat character. Zoro, Nami, Sanji, Usopp, Chopper, Robin, and Frankie. Does not include Brook, by the way, which is actually kind of interesting. Did not actually realize that at first. But it says once per adventure, when you reach the final stage, he changes the supported character slot into a strength slot, and he makes strength orbs beneficial for your entire team for one turn. So this is a really nice effect. You can just treat all strength orbs as beneficial, right? That's pretty good. That's actually really, really nice to have. Depending on what type of team you're going up against, the ability to just treat them as beneficial, right? That's so good. And you do get a guaranteed strength orb, right? But he can attach to a lot of different characters, which is one of the really good things about him. But I personally don't see too many circumstances where you're gonna need a character like this. but it's nice that the ability is there. So, you know, if you do need some sort of way to treat strength as beneficial, definitely look into a sort of support ability like this for sure. The next one after this is going to be ID 1612. This Psy Rare Recruit Kuma. This guy, I'm a big fan of this Rare Recruit in general because he has double special activation, he removes lots of turns of Bind and Despair, and now he has a support ability. So his support ability will only attach to Gecko, Moria, and Perona, so you are kind of restricted. But once per adventure when you're inflicted with Despair, he just reduces it by 5 turns for free. So you can't disregard an ability like that. That's always going to be something useful to have. You can just resist it by 5 turns no matter what, whenever it gets inflicted to your team. Really, really good to have. And the only thing is that you are restricted, right? Only on Perona and Gecko Moria. There aren't too many Gecko Moria characters that you would generally be running on your team, but depending on the situation, you could try and squeeze in a Perona on your team, depending on what type of team you're running, of course. So there's that. This Kuma's got a pretty good support ability. The next one after this is going to be the ID of 1619, which is the Dark King Silver's Rayleigh. This guy, we've been waiting so long for his support ability. It's finally here. I'm definitely going to be maxing it out straight away. So he will support Monkey D. Luffy, and once per adventure when you're inflicted with Bind, Despair, or Paralysis, he reduces all of those different debuffs by 2 turns. If you guys have read about this before, this is exact same support ability that Legend Corazon actually has. Legend Corazon can only attach to Law, and this guy can only attach to Luffy. So now you have 2 different support abilities with amazing utility that do the exact same thing, but can attach to 2 separate characters, which is always nice to have. Just the innate ability to remove 2 turns of Bind, Despair, and Paralysis all the time. And this means that if you are inflicted with 2 of these debuffs at the same time, he will remove both of those debuffs by 2 turns. It's so nice to have. So good. Probably one of the best support abilities in the game, equaling up there with Corazon, obviously being the exact same. But the thing about it is there's way more Luffys in the game compared to Trafalgar Law characters. So this guy will probably see more play than Corazon, but either way, this is one you want to get maxed out for sure. Now, moving on from Rayleigh, we have Sengoku. So, obviously, memes aside, Sengoku, yes, he is getting a support ability. It's pretty odd. Let's talk about it. So, his support ability will only support characters with a cost of 29 or less. So, of course, the 29 or less meme is continuing. Once per adventure, when the supported character activates their special, he boosts the attack of the supported character by 2.5 times for 1 turn. What? This is crazy. Look, again, the thing, I don't really see too many situations where you're gonna need an ability like this, but like, hypothetically, right, on a treasure map that's happening right now, those treasure map rare recruits have a cost of 29 or less. So you could legit have one of these characters with Sengoku attached to it, and you can make that support character or that treasure map rare recruit character hit for extremely hard damage. And I think that in a treasure map like right now, I would actually put this on one of my characters, to be honest. Like, it's actually not terrible, but again, outside of stuff like that, where you actually will be using characters that cost a 29 or less, don't really see too many situations where you're going to need it. But look, I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention because it's a legend and he's getting a support ability. So there we go. There's Sengoku right there. The next one after that is going to be 1927, which is going to be Legend Crocodile. Now, Legend Crocodile getting a support ability. This one, unfortunately, is a bit generic. He will attach to any cerebral character, and he adds 9% of his base stats to the supported character. 9% of his stats are actually pretty good. You're going to get a lot of stats here, especially if you have Cotton Candy for attack. 1900 attack is pretty good. He has a pretty good HP threshold and a pretty good recovery stat as well. So across the board, the cerebral character you attach him to is getting a pretty substantial stat increase. So that's good to see. So pretty generic stuff from Crocodile. The next one after him is going to be Legend Enel 2232. 6+ NO. This will include obviously their generic 6-star versions, but I mainly want to talk about their super evolved versions because they're the ones that people are mainly going to be using. His support ability will attach to any quick unit, and he'll go ahead and reduce damage received from strength characters by 5%, and he adds 20% of this character's base recovery to the supported character's recovery. So immediately, the number one character I would see that would get the most benefits out of this would be a character such as Legend Marco. He can attach to a quick character, which Marco is, and adding 20% of his recovery, that's a pretty big stat increase in terms of recovery. Most support abilities don't do that. Now, if we look at his generic one right here, we're not going to look at his limit break expansion, we're just going to look at his generic limit break. So with Cotton Candies, it's 582, and then you take 20% of that, which gives you a 116 boost. So what does Legend Marco actually have right now? Let me have a look. Marco, quick... This guy, we're not looking at his 6+ because it's not on global yet. So he does have a limit break expansion on global at the moment. So technically, if you do add that 690, so the 790 with cotton candies, that's really good. 900 recovery, and he heals for 100 times. Yeah, so he's healing 90,000 HP. I think it is a bit overkill, like I must admit. It is overkill in terms of recovery, but I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention that, you know, Legend Enel is getting a support ability, and it's interesting to say the least. Now, there are 3 other support abilities I want to briefly discuss before we end this video today. The first one is Legend Capone. 2302. This is a really good support ability, by the way. He only attaches to Chiffon, though, so that's the downside. Only to Chiffon, but once per adventure, when the supported character uses their special, he reduces all damage received for 1 turn. Legitimately, just like a Legend Robin effect on a support effect. You can you don't take any damage. And look, even at like level 1, you're still taking 50%, 60, 70, 80, and then all the way to 100% at level 5. So, look, that is really good. But remember, we only have, like, 2 different Chiffons in the game. We've got the Rare Recruit, and I think there's a story mode or a Fortnite one. One of the 2. I think it's a Fortnite one. Either way, mainly you're going to be attaching this to the Rare Recruit one. Speaking of Rare Recruit Chiffon, there is actually going to be a brand new support ability for her. And again, it actually is really good. So, she'll go ahead and attach to Capone only. But it says, once per adventure, when the supported character uses their special, recovers 20% of the crew's max HP and changes the supported character's slot into matching, right? Okay, there's a couple of things about this. Number 1, remember when you use Legend Component's special, he reduces your health by, I think it's 85%, so you do get quite a lot of health loss from that. Then, after you lose that health, this support ability will activate, where you'll heal back 20% of your max HP, and then you get a matching orb. Now, another character that works really well with Legend Capone would be a character like TM Boa Hancock, where if your captain's orb is Int or Psi, you can get those beneficial effects there. So, with this support effect on Capone, and then Boa as a sub, immediately in that turn, you can get a 2 times attack, 2 times orb boost, and a 1.75 times conditional defense down conditional boost against the enemy. So with that combination of characters, you can get some crazy stuff. So Chiffon definitely helps out a lot there, that is for sure. So instead of just having like a support VV, where on the final boss stage you'll get a guaranteed orb, you could literally just do this and use Capone special on the final boss stage, and you'll get the same effect out of it, which is really, really good. So I'm a big fan of this combination with Chiffon and Capone. Really, really cool. Or you could do it the other way around. You can have Chiffon on your team with Capone as a support, where you take no damage for that turn. So that's just one way you could utilize those shooter characters, getting a couple of different supports. Very, very cool. Now, the last character I want to briefly discuss before we end this video is going to be Inuarashi. Legend Inuarashi, 6+ Dog Storm, however you want to say it. This guy is getting a support ability. He will go ahead and state, only to Nekomamushi, only to Cat Viper. Once per adventure, when you reach the final stage, he adds 130 times his attack as additional typeless damage to the supported character's normal attacks for 2 turns. So let's go ahead and have a look at his stats real quick. So with, he does have a limit break expansion. We won't look at the expansion. So he's going to have 1987 with Cotton Candy as a generic limit break, times by 130. So Nekomamushi will get an additional 258,000 additional damage for 2 turns. Remember, it is only for Neko himself. The rest of your crew will not get that tap timing bonus damage. Only Neko will get that. And remember, you can't attach this to Cat Dog because he himself is the dog. So you can't attach this to Cat Dog Legend, which is unfortunate because it'd be nice to have more support for them. But any other Neko, you could even use it on like Colosseum Nekomamushi, which also sees a little bit of play. But the only other character you'd attach it to is, yeah, the Colosseum Neko or Legend Neko, which Legend Neko doesn't see that much play anymore, unfortunately. Colosseum Neko is probably the #1 choice for that. So just getting some additional damage for him is always good. But again, it's not like a crazy support ability. It's not one that I would definitely suggest max out straight away. But again, it's another SugoFest exclusive support ability that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. But that is going to wrap up this video today. Mainly wanted to talk about all of the new support abilities, the main ones that are going to see likely play. Definitely this guy right here. Cannot wait for this guy's support ability to come out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.